Yo, check it out, y'all. This is Raekwon the Chef, represents splashmag.com. Hold it down. You know what it is.
Follow the leader is a title theme task. Now you know you don't have to act. Rappers, rhythm, and poetry. Cuts create sound effects. You might catch up if you follow the records he wrecks. Until then, keep eating and swallowing. You better take a deep breath and keep following the leader.
Follow the leader. This is my icon right here. These guys right here, you know, Eric B. and Rakim, this is the best of the best MC, the best DJ, you know what I mean, in my eyes. Like, you know, when you think of the great combinations, you think of these guys, you know. Even though Eric B. and Rakim were from different cities, because Eric B. is from Brooklyn, you know, Rakim is from Long Island. So you getting two guys that really come together and made some of the best hip-hop, timeless hip-hop ever in the world. Like, this is the king right here, you know what I mean? And when I see this cover, Follow the Leader, it's like the lyrics of then still are some of the best lyrics today. So when I see this cover, it's like, God damn. You know, you see the jury on it. You see the, you know, this is everything we wanted to be, you know. You see them, you know, chilling back there. You know, Rakim got a bunch of chains on. His boys got jury on. You know, they got the baby with them. They got the cars. You know, this is everything we wanted to be when we were kids. You know what I mean? So this album right here means a lot to me. Follow the Leader, Paid in Full, all of that.
This ain't funny, so don't you dare laugh. Just another case about the wrong path. Straight and narrow where your soul gets cast. Good night.
This album right here, one of my other favorite MCs in the game, you know. I'm a big fan of this man because he tells the meanest stories. He has a great mind frame for capturing moments on wax as far as vivid imagination is concerned. This guy happens to be one of the flyest guys in the game to me, you know, far as dressing, far as jury, far as the way his style was, you know what I mean? So this album, it definitely had a lot to do with my career as well. You know, when you think of Slick Rick, you got to think of the best, at least top 3, you know what I mean, in the game. And we followed Slick Rick for a long time, even before he actually signed to Def Jam, because he had some tapes out floating in the street, like the old Lottie Dottie, you know what I mean? Not before it's on this album or whatever, but when he was the tape, I remember the tape. Like, the tape was like, oh shit, like we would listen to this motherfucker and be like, where he's from. And for him to be coming from London, that's what made him even more of a star, because we like, yo, he not even from America. He not even from the United States. So, you know, this is definitely one of our favorites in the game. And it just shows you it ain't where you from, it's where you at. You know what I mean? You know, for you to get another Slick Rick out the country, boy, he gonna be dangerous, whoever he is. But it's definitely one of our favorite albums right here. You know, when I think about Rick, I think about him helping my life and helping my friend's life as growing up. Like, he taught us about fashion. He taught us about go spend your money on clothes. You know what I mean? Come outside looking good. You know, I remember times when we used to come to the block and we used to have on slacks and rings, and you know what I mean? We would save our money up just to buy a pair of Adidas or a pair of Bally sneakers or a pair of Pumas or whatever. You know, so this guy was definitely one of them dudes that showed us about fashion and kind of incorporated hip-hop with fashion, put it together.
People around town talking this and that, how we sound like the R, and our music was whack. Dropped the album Strictly Business and you thought we would fold. 30 days later, the LP went gold, so what you saying?
These dudes, god damn, you got my favorite albums with you today, you know what I mean? EPMD, you know, this is that Batman and Robin all over again, you know. Back in their times, you know, MCs was very important, you know what I mean? So these two was like Batman and Robin. Nobody could stop them. Nobody could ever fuck with them. Where I'm come from, this is the best of the best duo. You know what I mean? Eric Sermon, ill on the beats, ill, and he knew how to rhyme. So, you know, that kind of opened up the door for RZA to feel like he know how to rhyme and make beats too. So Eric Sermon was like one of the first dudes to do that. And you know, him and Parrish, they were so live that you thought they were brothers outside of just hip hop. They was just moving like that. You know, they would dress alike, you know, they wear the same clothes. You know, to me that just showed real brotherhood. You know, and then on top of that, like they was lyrical. They, you know, they made hits. From So What You Saying to Knick Knack, Patty Whack, Give a Dog a Bone. Like, this is what me and Ghost always wanted to create on wax, like this kind of combination. So these are definitely some of our mentors in the game as well. Good album cover right here. I remember this album cover too. I remember Eric Sermon having the IROC. That's a Camaro, you know what I mean? And when he had the Benz just came out, you know what I mean? Benzes was still starting. You know, y'all out here in Germany, Benzes is nothing, but for us, Benz was everything back in the States. So, you know, just to see him come with that, you know, it was like, yo, they was our kind of dudes, though. Unfinished Business, EPMD.
At the same time with the dope rhyme that I kick, you know and I know I flow some old funky shit. To add to my collection, this selection symbolizes dope. Take a toke but don't choke. If you do, you have no clue of what me and my homie Snoop Dogg came to do.
Oh man, this album right here was, to me, a drug dealer's album. Dr. Dre, he was the epitome of hardcore gangster music. He made sure that niggas kept it black down all the time. You know, when you think of guys coming out on the block, you know, smoking weed, black down, running from the police, fuck the police, you have to have this album. You know, The Chronic is definitely an album that, as we started to get older, you know, when they came, we was like, wow, dudes is from L.A. Oh, shit, you know. But they was real dudes. You could tell they was real niggas. So that made us feel like it's real niggas on the other side, too, like us. They think like us. This album, he introduced Snoop on this album. It was a match made in heaven, you know. Dre was another dude that really paved the way for hip-hop, you know. He was one of the producers, and at the same time, he knew how to rhyme. So, you know, you got dudes out there that's, you know, being the best at what they could be, but at the same time, bringing you real talent to the table. Dre was talented with being down with NWA, and he was talented as an MC and solo. So when he made this album, this shit broke the mold right here. You know, having all them songs on there, having like, it was like a doctor's prescription album, you know what I mean? He was the best at it, man. He put a lot of shit together. He introduced the weed, you know, he made it seem like weed was cool, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it wasn't all about just being a weed head, but it was all about being cool, you know what I mean? And this album was fire right here, man. Everybody in my hood loved this album. You know, we started to drink, have fun, you know what I mean? Like, he taught niggas how to be the dude, though, man. It opened the door to a degree, you know what I mean? It opened the door, you know what I mean? But for the most part, that album was strictly for gangsters. You know, Dre let everybody know we gangsters with it, you know what I mean? Not trying to be like Al Capone or anybody like that, but we gangster within ourselves. We not gonna let nothing happen to us. We not gonna let you harm us. We don't give a fuck about the police. We gonna get money, fuck bitches, and smoke weed and do what we do, you know what I mean? So, album was very important to the game, though. He definitely brought a lot to the table.
In my place with the bass and format, explore rap. And tell me Nas ain't all that. And next time I rhyme, I be foul. Whenever I freestyle, I see trial niggas say I'm wow. I hate a rhyme fighter's rhyme. Stay tuned, I assume the real rap comes at halftime.
This album, Nas album, hot album, you know what I mean? It's so crazy that we knew these girls from London, me and Ghost. 2 girls put me and Ghost up on this album. They was playing Nas's tape, and we used to ride around with them, you know what I mean? And the 2 girls, they was from London. They had accents and all that shit, like, and they was like, yo, you heard of this guy Nas, you know what I mean? And the only song at that time that we heard was Halftime, you know, and right then and there, we knew he was a star. We knew that this was a young dude who actually seen a lot in his projects in his neighborhood. But when this album was made, though, it showed that the new generation was emerging, you know, and a lot of us was taught by the older dudes, you know what I mean? So you could tell that Nas was in this picture, you know. That's why he made the picture, because he wanted to show you that when he was a kid, that he's seen a lot. He's seen a lot growing up. He witnessed a lot of things. And sometimes when you at that age, your mind is clear to see everything. You know what I mean? You can see everything that's happening. And he was just a mean lyricist, man, you know. And he definitely woke New York up with this album, you know. He made the next generation of early 90s cats, you know, really work hard on their lyrics, you know what I mean? And he was definitely always one of my favorites, you know what I mean? So when I listen to this album, I be like, wow, I miss the old Nas, you know what I mean? I miss the intricate young cat with the philosophy and, you know, very smart at what he does. And, you know, he come from a real project, you know. He come from Queensbridge, which is one of the biggest projects in the world, you know what I mean? So he's seen a lot, you know what I mean? So when this album was made, it was kind of short. He didn't really have a lot of shit on it, but it was strong. It was strong, so it made you definitely keep rewinding it and, you know, listening to certain songs, you know. So when I listen to songs like One Love, I think about all my friends that went away to jail that I didn't get a chance to talk to. So when he made One Love, it was like he was speaking for every real nigga that missed his nigga or watched his man go away in due time. So it was a strong album, though. Definitely one of my favorite albums.
Or maybe it's the words from my man Killah Black that I can't say, so what's left an untold fact. Until my death, my goals will stay alive. Survival of the fit, only the strong survive.
Yo, we live in this till the day that we die. Survival of the fit, only the strong survive.
Another one of my favorites, them Queens niggas, man. These Queens niggas is just, I'm going to be honest with you, out of the whole New York, I love Queens rhyme. I love how they rhyme. You know, they rhyme from the street. They mean what they say. They live it. You know what I mean? They was coming with the slang, and, you know, I think Queens is underrated as well as being some of the best MCs in the game. And when this album came, see, we was on the same label with these two right here. So we knew these were stars right here. Like, it goes back to that EPMD chamber. They was the EPMD of Queens, you know, of their neighborhood. They was the young G's that was coming up that really was still out there on them blocks running around. So when you listen to this album, you feel nothing but all realness. It's like everything they talk about, they lived it. We know that for a fact, you know. So this is definitely one of my favorites, and it's so crazy because I still listen to this shit today. And for me to be on this album with them, it was a good feeling, you know what I mean? It was a good feeling to get on this album, and we was able to relate to them because we knew that they was telling the truth. You know, see, that's another thing, you know, when you look at some of the hot MCs of the world, you know, we the type of dudes that we want to know you came from what you said. You know, it's easy for somebody to talk about where they talk tough and all of this and all of that, but talk tough and living in that neighborhood and living around it, you get respect from us. And I watched these cats grow, and they never changed their formula. They stayed talking hard, you know what I mean? So definitely one of my favorite albums.
Keep playing, have your brain leaking that liquid. Sit back, enjoy the flow.
Yo.
We project livers, lick that liver, run with a bag of cash and flip that wig up. Won't deny it, holding iron, flows is giant. Catch you with 9 keys supplying.
This the dude right here, man. J Dilla. This is a king. This is a king of production, of sounds, he was another RZA, you know what I mean? And what's so amazing is that I just got put up on Dilla a couple of years ago. I didn't know that he was the man that he was. This dude did everything. He made tracks for some of the best MCs all over. Like, it's one thing to be a producer and have one particular style. He didn't have one particular style. This nigga had styles. And when I actually listen to a lot of things that he has done with different people and made so many songs. I was blown away. I'm like, yo, this is another fucking Dre, RZA, Pete Rock, Marley Marl, all in one. Like, this dude was like really something special in hip hop, you know. He didn't lose a beat far as how he felt about music, you know what I mean? He didn't care about the limelight. He didn't care about nothing but what you see in his hand, which is that motherfucking SP1200 or something, you know what I mean? That beat machine. And he's definitely one of the respected dudes in the game. So for me to have him on my album, it's a definite honor. You know what I mean? Just to support a man that really has done so much work. You know, hopefully now by him being on my album, you know, a lot of people is gonna be like, yo, I'm up on him, you know what I mean? Because at first he always played the West Coast side, like, you know what I mean? He was always on that side, but he did things for people all over the world. And he made everybody hit records, man. He made a lot of people money, man. A lot of people made money off of him. He helped make a lot of people money. But the most important thing is that he will go down in history as one of our top 5 producers in the world. Respect J Dilla. It's just so crazy because, you know, that's sometimes how shit go, you know what I mean? Like, you could do so much work and people don't see your work ethic, you know what I mean? And then, like I said, you know, he probably made a lot of mistakes too with his money and the kind of deals he made, but that happens in the business, you know what I mean? You bump into some of the most famous guys that they never was able to get what they were supposed to get, you know, but he's going to be all right. His mom's is going to be okay. You know, and at the end of the day, it's just about keeping his legacy alive, you know, keeping it alive and really supporting him and his family, you know, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to stay supporting him to the best ability, you know. Word up, J Dilla, one of my favorite producers.
I'm Ironman, no D-Cash metal, I'm still alloy. True identity hitting inside secret tabloids. Breathe oxygen, both sides of my jaw carry oxys. The track it like a bangers in 100-wide boxes.
Shit. This album right here, boy. This reminds me when I was young, you know. We was young. This was like, to me, this was like Cream's brother. I mean, not Cream. Only built for Cuban Linx too. I mean, only built for Cuban Linx brother, this album. Because when we did Cuban Linx 1, we was making this as well. And you see, we wanted to go somewhere else with it. Because we started loving shoes and all of that. You know, you ain't had too many rappers that was into shoes, you know what I mean? Like, we was so much into style, it was crazy. It was like, we wanted everything. We wanted jewelry, we wanted the cars, we wanted the money, we wanted clothes too, you know what I mean? And if you look at all this shit on here look like Polo back in the day, right? And that's how we felt, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, just the colors, like, that's how we were, you know what I mean? And it's just so ironic that when we made this album, all we kept thinking about was the shoes. Like, you know, Ghost loved Wallaby Clarks. You know what I mean? He was infatuated with them. He probably had maybe 500 to 1,000 pair of Wallaby Clarks. Like, this guy would spend all his money on Clarks. Like, every piece of show money, he going to buy a pair of Clarks. He going to buy a pair of Clarks. So, you know, when I look at how the album was made, it was made with pure elegance as far as street style. You know, we knew we were rhyming, but we was also trying to get our point across as letting y'all know we fly niggas too. We wear shoes. We can bring back a shoe that was out for 50 years. Like, Clarks was out for maybe almost 75 years, 80 years. So when we started wearing Clarks again, we helped Clarks get rich again. Nobody wasn't wearing them shits like that. Only ones was wearing them was me and Ghost and Kappa. Nobody else wasn't wearing them. Once we did this cover, it allowed Clarks to be back in business again. They made a lot of fucking money. They never paid us no fucking money. They didn't give us shit. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even wear Clarks no more. Fuck Clarks. Y'all never took care of me. Y'all never sent me a box, a package. Yo, thank you, Ray. You know, Mr. Clark ain't never come holler at us. You know, but it's cool, though. But at the end of the day, you know, we was at our best rhyming right here. and we was rhyming our hearts out, and we were, you know, just wanting to get our point across as far as being some of the flyest dudes in the game. This is definitely one of my favorite albums. We went in. It's a lot of music on here as well. You know, when you sit here, it's about maybe like 17, 18 joints on here. Album was very strong, you know. Ghost was definitely crafting his skills more. You know, Ghost was the type of individual that, you know, he always told me, he's like, yo, Ray, you taught me how to rhyme like how I'm rhyming now. You know, and I'm forever grateful to that, you know what I mean? But at the same token, I always knew that he was nice. You know, so this album right here, when we sat down, we would write a lot together. We would do a lot of songs together. We would sit down and I would throw him lines and he would throw me lines, and we'd just keep throwing them back and forth. But this album right here has opened up the door for Wu-Tang in a way where, the same way Cuban Linx did. So this is definitely a strong album. One of my favorites. Maintaining, you know. You good, right? Yeah, it's concrete so far, you know what I mean? So far, so good. You know, once we take care of the paperwork and we get to the next level, you know, we'll start talking about it more. But it's just basically a speculation, you know, and it's look like it's going to be a go. So we'll see what happens, you know what I mean? For me, it's about just doing the job, getting it in, you know what I mean? Them as my brothers, we're going to keep representing and making good music together, and if that's what we got to do to keep Wu-Tang legacy alive, that's what we're going to do. So good. Just look out for more information on it.
Okay.
All right.
One last question.
Maintaining, you know. You good, right?